start off, and then we'll dive into some Q&A, which is questions and answers. So we pulled up a lot of information. Going to start off with BMW price hikes. They're going to stay solid at the pricing that they're at until May 1, 2025. With the tariffs coming in place, the 2 Series and the M2 right after that is going to have an increase for about 4% on the MSRP. But to give you an example of how bad the pricing could be, an i5 and an i7, I had to pull this up online, the price right now is around $67,100. With the new tariffs, it's going to be around $83,036. So it is a pretty significant difference in price structure with the tariffs. And every single automotive industry is going to be affected. Audi as well. They're going to have a lot of issues because the Q5, which is their top seller, is around 52.5 to 55% increase over the tariffs. And then even Lexus is going to be increasing their price around $4,000 to $10,000. Now, Toyota hasn't mentioned that they're going to do anything. They said that they're going to hold off. As for Mercedes-Benz, they said the same thing for 2025. Nobody said anything for 2026. Going into some cool updates for the K4 hatchback that we're finally going to be getting for 2026. It's going to have a huge difference in the rear. They're going to have 2 GT trims. But one thing that I have with it is it kind of looks like a SUV. The C-pillar is going to have the hidden door handle similar to the sedan, but it's going to look like a miniature SUV. That's pretty much the only difference. But I like that the K4 is going back with a hatchback. Hey, Ethan, how are you today? Mazda also, this was awesome news. They have a 100-inch heads-up display. It's called the EZ60. That's in China. Unfortunately, in the US, we're not going to get it. But in Europe, it's going to be called the CX6E. So look for that. It's a all-electric variant. I think that's just awesome. 100-inch heads-up display. That's crazy. Porsche and Audi, they've recalled over 50,000 units in the United States. You're welcome. And we just did review the new Toyota 4Runner, which we will have on the channel shortly. We're getting ready to do the edits probably today or tomorrow. And it's actually interesting because they went the route of hybrid and hybrid turbo. So they have a ton of horsepower and torque, a lot more so than the prior gen, especially if you get the hybrid max. But when you're comparing it against the Passport, which a lot of people are, they like that they got the V6. I like that they have a V6 also, but then the 4Runner can tow more. It just has a little bit more capabilities. Honestly, Audi should have built a factory in the US a long time ago. Yes, I agree. Audi should have done some things with that, and that's pretty much what's affecting a lot of these companies because it's about 75% of the parts need to be in North America. Hey, James, how are you? Good to see you. So when you're putting that in content, it's also going to hurt Ford and GMC because their parts are not from North America. They're from other countries. So even if you have plants in the US, you still can get affected. We also went to Genesis. We ultimately had an issue this week where the hard drive that I store all my data fell and it broke. So we had to go back to Genesis. We could not go to Land Rover or Range Rover this week. So hopefully we'll have that rescheduled because we had to go back to Toyota, BMW, Genesis, and Hyundai. I'm really excited with the new the new Palisade, because they're keeping the V6 and in hybrid trim. And in the review of the Passport, I even stressed, why didn't they give us a hybrid variant? Keep the V6, don't get me wrong. But it's good to have the competition like the Palisade is bringing, and it's basically like a little Santa Fe. Hey, hello, new here. How are the vibes? I guess they're doing good. So going back to the comparison with the 4Runner and the Passport, I like the Passport because you get the V6 variant, but I like the 4Runner because you're getting more towing capabilities. You have 9 different trims to choose from this year, and the suspension changes from a lot of different variants. Now, the towing capabilities does decrease when you go into the new Trail Hunter, and that would actually get the max payload. So just a few things to consider there. That's cool. Anyway, when do you show your B-hole? Ha ha ha, so funny. What's your opinion on the 2026 Palisade? I think the Palisade is going the right direction, just like I was saying. It's basically a larger version of a Santa Fe. You have a V6 variant. You also have the hybrid variant. So I think they're doing a great job with that. And the XRT, so you have that off-roady look, doing a great job. And Kia is going to be coming out with some trucks in the US, but it's going to be an EV. So hopefully we can get what they get in other. Hello, how are you, Bruce? Hopefully we can get the trucks that they're getting across seas, because Kia, Hyundai, they're doing a lot of things moving forward. And even Genesis, I did the new GV Coupe again, but this time I didn't do the E Supercharge. I did just the regular because they only have two variants, which they give you the 3.5T, which is a twin turbo V6. Awesome vehicle. I would consider that over the GV80 non-coupe unless I'm going the Advance, because in the Advance you can get third row. The only thing that prevents Hyundai from overtaking Toyota is the reputation that Hyundai is bad quality. You know, a lot of people talk about bad quality with Hyundai. I personally have owned a Hyundai Elantra GT hatchback. It's a 2013 model. I had it for a little while, got rid of it. It was a temporary car, never had any issues with the particular vehicle. For 60K, would you prefer a Lucid Air or a model or a S Plaid? That's a tough one. I mean, I like the Lucid Air a little bit better in the interior. The drive is awesome on both of them. The Plaid's going to feel a little bit heavier when you're mashing on the brake, though, so just something to take in consideration. Both are going to have a pretty decent amount of miles, I would imagine. I mean, Plaid, it just has a different vibe to it, so I would probably say, Gavin, go for the Plaid. You probably will enjoy it a little bit more. It's tough, though. I mean, test drive both just to see, but the brakes, like I said, is going to be a little bit better on the Lucid. Going back to the quality with Hyundai, you can see the increase in quality when you go into Genesis. So that's why I was getting at, like, a lot of people were concerned about quality and things of that nature, but Toyota really uses a lot of plastics in the interior, and the same thing with Honda. With Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis, you're starting to see a lot more expensive materials. Now, yes, there is some current concerns about the engine and the power in the transmissions, but even with that being said, you're getting the best warranty in class. I know it's a hard choice, yeah. Genesis is extremely underrated. I mean, the new G90, I got to see one yesterday just briefly before they closed because of the holiday this weekend, and I'm hoping I can get my hands on it before it sells. They didn't do the PDI, which means it's ready for sale. Even the material that they're using in the G90, it's literally better than the S-Class, and it's a fraction of the price. So when we put these things in category against competition, I mean, it's really hard for me to say that they're not using good components. Now, going back for the engines and the transmissions, I mean, you got 5-year warranty, which is the best in class. So they obviously care about what they're putting out, and they're selling a ton of units. So the handful that we get of complaints, I never personally had any issues with our Hyundai. I went Hyundai instead of Kia because Hyundai was cheaper than Kia. And Genesis, I feel like it's a little pricey, but because of what you're getting, full Napa leather, especially when you go into their Prestige line and the power that they have on it. Now, the disadvantage for Genesis is they are considering dropping the G70, which to me is a huge blow. And a lot of that is because they want to go just with the G80 and the G90. They want to go larger vehicles. They just don't see that vehicle staying in its segment. So that's kind of, I wish they would keep it, especially considering they got the GV80 Coupe. It just kind of goes hand in hand. And some other news, Audi is going to be doing more ICE vehicles, so that's a good direction for the brand, because currently they were suggesting to change to all EVs. So I'm happy to see that. And the R8 Volkswagen brand has said that they're not going to come back out with it, but I mean, it's still kind of up in the air because everybody's changing their mind literally every single day. Any news on Toyota RAV4? Will it look like a Camry or a baby? What would you prefer? So for the RAV4, the updates is, I feel it looks more kind of like a mixture of the Crown, the way they're doing everything, and it's the same thing with even the Camry. I like the updates that Toyota is doing, but the materials that they're using is still not necessarily premium materials. So for instance, when you go into the Crown, the steering wheel, it just doesn't have the soft leather like you would get in a Mazda, for instance. And I'm not saying, Mazda's better, this or that, but you get more premium materials at a fraction of the price. And when you go Crown, you're spending a ton of money. The one update for Toyota, though, is the new Corolla. I think that's going to look awesome because it's going to have a lot of attributes like the Camry with the hybrid powertrain. I think that's going to really just be a game changer, just like the new RAV4. The Sequoia is basically the more, I hate to say it, it's the bigger of the SUVs for Toyota, because now with the 4Runner, you can get third row, but then with the Land Cruiser, which I have a comparison coming with that, it's only a 5-seater still, and you only get 2 different variants this year. Anthony, are you considering the Palisade instead of the QX60? Right now, this week, because it's a holiday, I didn't hear anything back from Infiniti or Nissan North America. They did say that they would do the buyback. They're negotiating the terms because they wanted to give me some crazy buyback where I would basically be trading the value or trading the vehicle in, so it's not worth it. So I told them to either extend the warranty, give me some money, or do something else. And then because we bought a vehicle, it's coming from Italy. The only thing I'm going to tell you guys, it is a supercar, so it is going to be awesome. We're going to have a review. We're going to do a separate channel piloting that specific vehicle. Hopefully it'll be in next week. It's been over a week since we've ordered it. It's actually been about 2.5 weeks now. So when it comes, then we'll let you know. It is coming from Italy. That's all I'm going to tell you guys until it comes. But I will show you guys some pictures as soon as it lands on the dealership. They're trying to figure out how. I told them that I need it delivered to the house, which surprisingly, this dealer has never delivered vehicles to people's house. And I said, look, this is something that I'm not sounding like I'm, going crazy, but if you go like Lamborghini, you go Aston Martin, they'll personally deliver the vehicle. And I said, why would you not deliver a supercar to somebody's house? So now they're trying to see if they could get a trailer with windows around it. We're going to have some drone stuff. It's going to be kind of crazy. We're having a little party and whatnot. So if you're in the Florida area, let us know. You can come to the revealing of the vehicle being dropped off. Materials are exactly the reason I bought the CX-50 Touring for my parents. Say it isn't refined with the drive. Yeah, I mean, I actually had a Mazda CX-30 for about 3 days. I didn't do a review on it. We got it first. I just turned it in today, actually, maybe a couple hours ago. And I mean, the interior quality, you're driving on long journeys, and this week I had to drive a lot. I probably drove 300-400 miles in just a couple days on that vehicle. And I mean, hands down, I could relax in it. It didn't have heated or ventilated seats. It just, soft materials everywhere, though, that you needed. Whereas when I had Toyota for a week or two, your arms get tired because there's no soft materials to rest them. Your legs sit up, or my knees, because I'm 6'3", sit up in the air. With Mazda, even though the seats were not as long and this is a smaller vehicle, I was still comfortable and I wasn't tired for all that driving. What was it that I like? Turbocharged BMW Stage 3. Come to in North Carolina and get. And then also for the tariffs, this is some big news. So people that are excited about the 2 Series and the M2 prices, I stated it early, they're going to be going up about 4%. In the 3 Series, they're going to increase the price also. There's no way around it because it's predominantly coming out of Mexico. The 350, the M350 is going to be really exciting. 417 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. It's nothing different there. But I'm excited to see how it is. The testing has been, going through the past couple of weeks. I can't wait till it comes. It's going to be for 26, badged as the 27 model. Now, one thing that I dislike, I did do the new RSQ8 Performance. It's awesome, just like the regular Q8 or RSQ8. The difference, though, is it drives a little bit more rugged. It's a little bit more soft when you put it into luxury, but honestly, I kept it into RS dynamics the whole time I drove the vehicle, except for maybe a brief time that I just put it into comfort. The sound deadening is awesome. The tech, it's good. It's not the updated tech that's going to be coming in the new Q9 or the new Audi variants, unfortunately, but the difference really was the drive is a little bit more in the 0 to 60. You feel a little bit more of the tension in the steering to the vehicle, but it's around 155 grand. The price is going to go up also because of the tariffs. And unfortunately, when you're at that price point, it opens up the door to getting maybe a pre-owned Urus, which will hold its value a little bit better. And unfortunately, the power isn't that much of a difference. You like black men? You like black men? What? I think people are just spamming there. And then we also got to do the 2025 S8 as well as the RS7 Performance. This one we did, it did not have a black optic package, but it had every single other package. So I asked them what the heck's going on, why would you not get that? And they said, well, Audi, the way they spec things, sometimes they do it to keep it at a price that's under 150 grand. So I appreciate that because we had the luxury package and the rear seating package that had the 4 seats. So it's an awesome vehicle. We just finished the edit, so it should be on the channel relatively soon. Would you go for a BMW 5 Series plug-in hybrid or a 550e or a BMW X550e? I would say if you're going to go for the 550e, you may want to look at the 3 Series plug-in hybrid. The only difference that you're going to really have is cargo and back seat room. So if you need back seat room, then I would go up to the X550e or the 25 variant, whichever one you prefer, because then you'll have the leg space and you'll have the towing capabilities plus the cargo capacity. But when you're going to the 3 plug-in hybrid, the charging is actually a little bit quicker on that one. So, and I believe the range was just a little bit more for all electric. I'll have to go back and check the stats on that, but I believe that was 2 main differences. That's why I would go to the 3 Series opposed to the 550e. But if you're looking for the space, I would go for the X550e. Bro, what the heck? Oh, hold on. It says I gotta review this. You don't gotta out yourself. You can DM me out. What the heck? We're going to try to erase this message. There we go. We're going to hide that so it's not out there. Sorry about that, guys. Apparently, YouTube allows me to hide some things, so we had to hide that message. People are just ignorant whenever they come onto live streams. Let's see. And then for other news, Stellantis is obviously having some issues still. And up in the air is Maserati, the brand. People have been talking a lot of things because China is really wanting to buy it, but it is not up for sale. That's what Stellantis it just keeps saying. Okay, if you want, you can ban them from commenting. Oh, okay. I'll look into that to see how I can ban them because I have no idea. When you're on the phone, the settings is a little bit different. Thoughts on the Lucid Gravity? I just saw that this week actually. And I think Lucid is doing an excellent job overall. It's one of the ways I would go if I'm looking for electric opposed to Tesla. I would also look at Rivian because Rivian, I think, does an amazing job. Only good cars that GM Ram makes is the 1500. Thoughts on BYD is actually by far the best. That would actually beat Lucid and all the electric variants. If it or when it comes to North America, I think that's going to be a huge game changer because they're doing a lot of things to update where you can get quick charging, you get fast range, which all of the other brands haven't really done that. They just continue to do this 35, 45-minute charging, which even when I review them, I'm just like, man, this kind of sucks. Like, there's no innovation. We're still doing the same charging that's been done nearly 5 years ago or more. Now I have to subscribe. You seem cool. Thank you. So when you put that in perspective, BYD is going above and beyond that because, I mean, if they can do the 5-10 minute charges and they can get the range that they're projecting, plus the inexpensive pricing and the interior quality to be good, I think that's going to be a huge game changer for North America. As for Stellantis, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, Dodge, I know exactly what you're saying. They make good vehicles, and they're coming back out with the Hemi, so that's going to change the ball game, and they're trying to scrap a lot of their EVs, which I find it just hilarious. That I still remember it took me like almost a year for some reason. Dodge and Ram was just a hard company to work for, and I know it's underneath the Stellantis umbrella, but I had Maserati, I had Lamborghini, I have all these high-end vehicles, and it took me 1 year to get them. So this is why I find it funny. I go into the office, and they're like, you'll never have to worry. We're going to always have Hemis and all these muscle cars. And then they went to this extreme change of EVs, and then they're wondering why their brand just dropped. When you're piloting something that is a muscle car, I mean, look at Ford. That's why I applaud them so much, because Ford at least said, for the Mustang, we're going to keep a 5.0. We're going to keep the Coyote alive. We're not going to drop it. They have an EV vehicle, but they didn't do it to the Mustang. They did a Mach-E. Come on, man. I mean, I think that was just crazy how Dodge went that route, and Ram, trying to do this V6 twin turbo. I mean, you know what the essence of your brand is. Don't go away from it. Maybe stop selling so much of it, or figure out something, because I get it. You had to pay a lot of credits to EV companies. That's why ultimately they went this route. But in the same category, you knew what you were doing. You had plenty of time to change this. And unfortunately, you didn't do anything about it. And now you're just trying to go through the mess. The electric Dodge Charger are going for a big... I know. Right now, Gavin, you are 100% correct. You can get them for like $20,000, near $30,000 off. So if you do want an EV Challenger Charger, I mean, go ahead and get it. And the same thing with the Hornets. Like the Hornet, I actually told my son, I said, look, Issa, you should get one of those. You can get them for like $20,000-ish, $30,000. They're freaking crazy. But, obviously with the battery and everything, hello, how are you? With the battery and everything, I mean, people... I don't know. I look at warranty, and if you're buying something for $20,000, $30,000, you have a warranty for 3 or 5 years. It depends on what brand you're going for. You really don't have to be concerned about longevity at that point. Most people that buy a vehicle that's inexpensive in the $20,000 to $30,000 price point typically trade it within the time frame of warranty. So when you're saying, oh, quality, this and that, I just kind of disqualify a lot of it, because you're not even going to keep the car that long. The Hemi is coming back. Yes, I know the Hemi is coming back. I did state that earlier before I went on my little rampage about how crazy they were for going EV. And I still remember the pictures of everybody like waving by with the Hemi for the last Ram that they did, pulling off the line, and I just thought, this is ridiculous. They should have never even thought about discontinuing this stuff. It's fine to have other variants, and that's why I like to say that in my reviews. It doesn't mean I'm all for hybrids or I'm all for electric. I like my Hurricane V6 Ram. And again, there's nothing wrong with the new V6 Ram. I just think that you need to keep the essence of what your brand is doing. Maybe sell a little bit less, make it a limited production. Therefore, you don't have the issue of having to pay these tax credits because you're not getting the EPA. I wonder if they're going to change the design of the Charger. I mean, from right now, it looks like the way that they're going is just to put the engines back in the vehicles, so that way they can get the sales back on par. It has more power. It does have a lot more power. And I have a couple reviews of the new engine in the Ram. And I mean, the only major difference really is it's obviously a twin turbo V6, and you have more power, you have more capabilities, but people just like the engine. It's kind of like going into an F-150. You have the Coyote V8. People love it. I personally love the sound of that Coyote V8. But the EcoBoost is actually better performance in every category, more or less. But people just like the Coyote V8. It's a bummer to see what happened to Jaguar. If it feels like they're totally lost. Yeah, Jaguar just completely twisted the script. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Because again, when you don't have that many vehicles, you don't need to take a good recipe and just wash it down the sink. You should at least keep some of the essence alive, especially when you have like the SVRs. I mean, those freaking cars are amazing. I have a few of the reviews on them, and every time I review them, it's hard for me to give the key back because I'm just like, man, they literally made this vehicle not only athletic but dynamic, meaning that the way the air penetrates through the whole vehicle, literally, it's meant to keep it down for the downforce. The drag underneath doesn't affect the vehicle. You could put it on a track, and you're talking about an SUV doing all this. Crazy. And then just going all EVs, I don't know. Again, nothing wrong with EVs. If the price was discounted and the charging was a lot quicker, I would be all for it. Because when I had to stop for gas, when I had the Mazda CX-30 for 3-4 days, it only takes 5 minutes to fill the damn thing up, and then $30 to fill up a whole car. I mean, I was getting 330 miles, and I kid you not, I was racing the vehicle a lot. Only thing that sucks about those little turbos is when you're going 80 to 100 miles an hour, you're going to hear that turbo, and it's going to be just, you let off the gas, it feels like you're braking. It almost feels like an EV with regenerative braking. That's how that turbo goes. Wonder if they're going to supercharge turbo for the Dodge or the vehicle. Are you the vehicle's, what? Are you the vehicle S lawyer? I don't know what that means. So people who bought last call, that, I was actually going to bring that up. So the last call, and they were putting a dement on those vehicles, which I thought was ridiculous. I still remember when I did, I think we have a couple of them on the channel. I got the keys for it. Even the sales team was like, man, those cars. And I was thinking, I scratched my head a couple times. I'm thinking they got to come back with it because more than likely the administration usually changes anyways. Even if Trump wouldn't have won, I still feel some of the changes would have came through, at least for EVs, because we can't keep going that direction if it takes that long to charge and we don't have an infrastructure in North America. But I'm glad that they have implemented changes so that way we can actually get our hands back on those vehicles. But for the last call being a special edition, I mean, maybe it will be. Sadly, people who bought them may have paid over sticker, which I never suggest you do that. Anytime you buy a new vehicle, don't pay more money than the MSRP suggests because you're just losing money on top of the depreciation. Ram Hurricane Twin Turbo has no oil dipstick. Deal killer for me. A lot of vehicles actually do this now with the no dipstick. You can find that a lot with BMWs. When you're doing an oil change for these vehicles, by the time you spend $20, $30 less in the oil change, in most cases, it will be just as much as you would pay to do it yourself. So I personally do not do oil changes on my own vehicles. I know how to do them, but I'll do things like spark plugs. I'll do maybe the serpentine. I'll do the serpentine belts. I'll do pulleys, things like that. I'll even do a clutch for the transmission, for the AC compressor, because it's right there on the front. Simple things you can do yourself. But in the same category, you got to look at how much money it's going to cost you. Because in some cases, like I just did on my Maserati, the control arms. The control arms snap because it's two pieces together that's soldered, that's welded together. And after so many miles, the cars, I've had it since new, it's 9 years old, 65,000 miles, they crack and break. I was going to do an aftermarket one and do it myself, but you have to have a lift. And literally the work that it takes is over 2 to 3 hours. So to rent a lift and to do 2 or 3 hours, figured it was worth just doing it at the dealership. They charged me less than $3,000, which is a ton of freaking money considering the parts are only maybe $250 each. So $500, I spend about $2,500. It would cost me at least $1,200 to rent where I would lift the vehicle up. So maybe $1,000 to have it done correctly, and I don't have a headache doing it all day long. I think it was worth my while. Said hello. Oh, I said hello too. I hate working on German cars. Yeah, German cars and Italian cars, they do some stupid stuff. Like when I did the rotors in my brakes, for instance, the back rotors on a Maserati, you have to get a special, I think it was like a 28 Allen wrench, which is freaking stupid. Like that doesn't even come in a set. It was either a 28 or a 30, and they only put it on like one of them. So I had everything done, and then I go to pop the last one that's behind the driver's seat, and I needed that, and obviously it's late at night, so I had to go into, I had to order from Advanced Auto Parts, which Advance Auto Parts apparently is closing a bunch of stores. And it was at nighttime, so they were closed. I had to get it the next day, so my car was literally just jacked up. It looked ridiculous. And it also, you have to beat the tires off the vehicle because they don't put any like seize material or grease around the hub to get the tire off, because you can't do rotations because they're staggered wheels. So you can only rotate it from front to front, meaning the driver to passenger, or rear to rear, because they're different size tires, and there's no point of doing that. I'm curious, are you going to replace the Maserati soon? No, I'm planning on keeping it. When I picked it up a few days ago, the dealership even said I maintain the vehicle really well. It shouldn't have any issues. We are ultimately the AC compressor, because of the years, probably is going to go out in the next coming years. It's an expensive fix, but when you're keeping the vehicle and you don't have a car payment, I mean, it's still cheaper than getting something new. He is wearing a plug right now, battery powered. What? I don't know what the heck that even means. We're going to remove that because that's just rude. I don't know how to block people yet, but we will figure that out. And then we did get word that there's a JCW Mini, which unfortunately they're closed tomorrow. I won't be able to do it, and today they closed early and we had the live stream. So hopefully we'll get our hands on that on Monday, as well as the X5M competition, which we already did a review on one of those. I have several different reviews and even comparison reviews. I swear this person keeps making, I don't know, they're interesting people. And it doesn't actually allow me, when I click on to it, it only allows me to, oh, there we go, hide him. I was able to hide him, so he will not be able to post anymore. There we go. And then there we go. So we took care of that one. Sorry about the irritating response from some people on the live stream, but that's going to happen as time progresses. They also had a couple of M850i's, so we're hoping to get our hands on that. Is the JCW Mini the Countryman? It is not. This one was a actual Mini Cooper. So the two-door, I was really excited. They sent me a text of the pictures. It looks awesome, and hopefully it's still there. I don't think someone's going to buy it from Fridays when they sent me the picture, but I was at Genesis. I had to recoup some of the reviews and work that we did with them. And they do have a G70, the G70 and the G90, like I was saying. So hopefully we'll get our hands on that sometime this week. I was watching Lexus TX plug-in hybrid review, and they do not have a panorama sunroof on an $80. Yeah. So a lot of the new vehicles are also doing where it's just going to be like a glass roof. BMW's doing the same thing. I think that, I have it in my QX60. I have the two panel moonroofs. I use them once in a blue moon. Sometimes I just open them up. If I'm traveling far distance, I'll open them up because at nighttime you can see the stars when you're driving, so it looks kind of cool. But usually we don't really use it. And even in my Maserati, I never use it. But my new vehicle, it's a convertible, so I'm going to be using that quite a bit. But for $80,000, you're right, Gavin. It needs to have they need to just do some tweaks to the TX. I feel like there's a lot of plastic materials. They should maybe look at the CX90 to see what they're doing, because I feel like they went more correct with the interior components, especially where it's more soft. And I'm not trying to say, go out and buy a Mazda and I'm all about Mazda. It's just the quality is a lot better than Toyota and Lexus is supposed to be more premium. We are going to Acura this week, so we're going to be getting the new ADX, which I'm excited to see that one because it's basically the Honda HRV, but you're getting the CVT transmission, so I'm a little skeptical with the performance on that, and hopefully we'll get some Type S variants as well. We're going to be going back to Honda this week, and Porsche we have scheduled, but we have an issue with the QX60 on Wednesday when we're scheduled, so I have to see if we can make sure we can actually do it. I'm curious what trim the 4Runner... Oh, so the 4Runner, I did the limited trim. That was the only variant that we have right now in the fleet. Hopefully, Mazda stepped their game up big time. They have. They're changing up everything, and that's why I wish Toyota and Honda will look at what they're doing, because, even when I had my son Issa in the car several times, he was like, "Oh, Mazda," kind of trying to talk some junk. And I said, "You know what? I don't think you understand this car. It's kind of like a secret car that people don't realize what they have." And he started touching the materials, and he was like, "Wow, it's soft materials here, everywhere where you put your arms. The turbocharge, it feels faster than it is, but like I said, once you get up to like 80 to 100, you let off the gas, it feels like regenerative braking. That turbo just goes backwards for some reason. Like it'll go from like 100 to 70 in like a second. So that's why I mean it feels like regenerative braking on an EV vehicle. Mazda is bad because of the screen. Only real reason for me. Yeah, the screen configuration can be fixed, but I mean, overall, when you're looking at a car that's just well built, I feel like it's good. The transmission was slipping in the vehicle we had, which I was a little bit surprised because I haven't had this issue, but I am starting to see more check engine lights coming into some of my reviews, which I don't usually review the vehicle. So, like Mercedes and the AMG line, I'm almost seeing it literally every single time I go to Mercedes. We picked up the C63 SE Performance. We were supposed to do the S63 E Performance, and it had the check engine light. I was really irritated with that because I was so excited. I actually saved that one to last to review it because I said I'm going to just enjoy that vehicle because the S63, I mean, the damn thing has like 1,000 pound-feet of torque. It's insane. And then I'm also seeing this happen on Audi when I did the Q5e, which is a plug-in variant. Damn check engine light popped, and I said, "Man, this is nuts! Like it's just left and right. Like what happened to the quality to the vehicle?" 2026 Honda Passport, all trim, have active grille shutter, deal breaker for me. Now the grille shutter, this is kind of common in a lot of the vehicles, and even BMW. I talk to a lot of their teams because I do some exclusive stuff with them for BMW on the side and Mini. And they have told me that they've had some issues with the grille shutter. So the reason why I'm saying this is because all the vehicles are adding it. Usually the problems that they're having is rock chips that go in between it and break the little plastic piece that moves it. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the grille shutter either after talking with them. And some dealerships will warranty it, but it just depends on how much work you do with them. And BMW got to come up with the X7 plug-in hybrid. Yeah, BMW, that would be awesome if they did something like that. I mean, it would be a huge game changer. But in the same category, the X7, they have so much power with the M60 variant and the XB7, which they had an XB7 and it just kind of slipped. As soon as I went there, it was already gone. We've only had like 3 of them in this whole area, so it's been hard to source. 2026 Passport is beautiful. I think they did a great job. I mean, it's literally like a Ford Bronco and a Passport, which bulletproof with the V6 engine, and it does everything that you need for a daily. And you could do some off-roading, which I applaud them for going that route. What cars do you drive? Also, Nissan got to share that same fate as Subaru. Nissan is Saab. I drove a M550, good balance. Yeah, the M550 is actually like a sweet spot vehicle. I mean, unfortunately, they don't do it anymore, and the reason why is because of what you get, that S68 engine, which is freaking crazy. Detuned a little bit, but you can actually change that because it's the same engine as an M5. Nissan, I don't know. I think Nissan is going the right direction with the new CEO. They're bringing back the GTR. They have plans on 5 different variants out of one platform for EV vehicles. They are scrapping the QX55 and QX50, but they haven't really done anything to that vehicle anyway since it's been redone with the VC turbocharged engine back in 2021, I believe it was. In 2020 was the refresh. Yeah, 2020 was when they changed it. That was when they did the refresh. In 5 years, or going to be 6 years now, nothing's changed. Same infotainment screen since even before then. I mean, they need to do something to up the brand a little bit. Oh, nice. What year? 2021. Yeah, the M550, like I said, hands down, that was one of my favorite variants. It's even hard to find them pre-owned because people keep them. Plug-in hybrid is the way to go. Yeah, I would do plug-in hybrid or a hybrid. Full EVs, like I said before, we just don't have the infrastructure in North America. Even when I was in California, I went to San Diego. James knows I was there. I actually met James. I was there about a week or so, and there was no areas to charge. So we ended up having to try to change for rental, and we ended up not even doing a rental. So we did a lot of walking. I think one day we did over 20 miles on foot just to get to everywhere, because even the infrastructure there wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be in some areas, like in some other areas of California. So if you go to California, just check out which destination you go to, because some areas will not be as EV friendly, and you'll be doing a lot more walking because they don't have a lot of transit. Did Tesla improve build quality in the Model Y? I feel that the build quality still for Tesla hasn't changed much. And even for Toyota, I did the 4Runner a couple days ago. When I closed the door, I bumped my elbow on the door card, and the plastic piece fell off. And I thought, what the hell? This car just came on the lot. Like, what the hell is going on? Is the Grand Highlander or Palisade better? I actually did the Grand Highlander the same 2 days ago when I did the 4Runner. I think the Palisade is going to be a little bit better in my perspective. Hey, Sean, how are you? I'm curious if we're buying a vehicle, active grill shutter, living in blow. Okay, so for the grill shutter, will it, because of the snow, can it cause damage? Yes, it can. The salt obviously causes a ton of damage to the vehicle anyway, especially the underbody. Now, the grill shutter is basically plastics that are moving it. So the only concern that I would have with it is obviously heating up the vehicle. And whenever you heat up the vehicle, the grill is going to be closed. So it's not going to open until it actually needs to open to give in cool air to the engine. So I wouldn't be so concerned about that. I would be concerned about, like I was saying, the rock chips earlier, where BMW told me that they've had a few issues where a rock chip comes, and living in Michigan, I'm sure your roads are not as good either, where you'll have problems. I know in the reviews you guys see me in a lot of nice areas, but like I've said, I try to go into good areas where you're not seeing road work, and unfortunately, road work is starting to come everywhere here in Tampa as well, even St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and Sarasota, where I do reviews. That being said, if the rock chip or the rock hits it, it will break the little plastic motor, and it's going to cost you probably about $150, depending on the vehicle now. BMWs are a lot more money, and if it breaks the flap, because sometimes it actually breaks the flap, and then they have to replace that component too. That's why I was saying the best thing that you can do if you buy a vehicle, go and make a good relationship with the dealership, spend the extra few dollars. I know it's going to be maybe $100 here, $50 there, but believe me, it goes a long way, because as the years progress and you own the vehicle, accidents happen, and sometimes they'll fix it for free without giving you any issues. Because I've had a lot of things happen with my personal Maserati, and the dealership literally has fixed it for free, no questions asked. They said, you know what? We know that you come here and service your vehicle. The same thing with Infiniti. I've had a lot of issues because it's under buyback. And even before that, because I took my vehicle to service it so much to the dealership, they would do free services like free alignment, free rotations. Usually you pay $100, $200. So just keep that in mind whenever you're doing these things. The roads are quite terrible. I know, Sean. My son has a friend, Issa has a friend in Michigan that works with GMC. He does a lot of their concept cars. So I'm planning on coming over there and working with him, because they do concept cars only, and he works with corporate, and they've been stressing of how bad the actual roads are. Hold on one second. Let me get rid of this one here. We're going to hide that person. Sorry about that, guys. Which one would you choose, a new Mustang Dark Horse manual or a Mach 1 manual? So the Dark Horse is by far awesome, and it's like very hard to get. Our team over here, I have actually a few different Ford teams, haven't been able to source one. The Mach 1 manual, we've been able to source the Mach 1 a little bit easier. So if you're looking for something that you're going to actually drive, I would say Mach 1 manual. But if you're looking for something you can put in the garage, I would go Dark Horse. That definitely will go up in value. $20 if you say, my gosh. Sorry about this, guys. We're just going to time out some people here. Sorry about the interesting people putting comments. So yeah, going back to the grill shutter, just like I said, make a good relationship with the dealership. For Mustang, I would go Dark Horse if I'm going to garage it. The vehicle that we're purchasing, we're going to be garaging the majority of the time, but because we got such a good deal, I'm not really concerned about wear and tear on the vehicle. And I have a great relationship with the dealership because we also work with the dealership. But with Mustang, I don't think you could go wrong either way you go. And Anthony, what decision is your suit? So I can't tell you yet, but we will be releasing that as soon as it comes here. I'm hoping either next week or the week after. They bought the bow for me. So it's a black bow and it has the name of the car across it. I thought that was pretty cool because I told them we're going to blow it out of proportion because they're going to drop it off at the house. And we're going to have like a little party. So like I said before, if you're in the Tampa Bay area, let me know, drop a comment or something so that way you can maybe get a VIP invite. We're going to have some of the team that we bought the vehicle from and the team that we work with come. We're going to have a lot of Issa's friends come as well. And we're just going to have a lot of fun with it, more or less. We're going to close up the live stream a little bit early this week. Use Aston Martin vintage or going. Yes, I did look at those actually because I thought about getting one for like a daily. I mean, you can get them for like 80, 90 grand, but the service on the vehicle is about $2,000 to $3,000. It isn't too bad considering it's, an Aston Martin, but still, you would probably want to take most of your services to the dealership. I would do some of them myself if I bought one because it is kind of easy to service most of these vehicles. We're going to close up the live stream a little bit early today. We have to do a lot of edits because, like I said earlier, my hard drive broke and we lost a lot of content, about 2 to 3 months of content that we're going to be putting on the channel. Don't forget to check out the memberships. Thank you guys for coming out to the live stream and look forward to seeing you next week. And as soon as we get the new or my third car, I will post the picture up and show you guys, but I figured I would wait for the surprise because it still hasn't landed in the United States. And like I was saying before, if you're looking to do any car shopping, you may want to consider it a little bit sooner, probably in the next 2 to 3 months, because every automotive industry has been telling me that probably around May, June, everything is going to go up, even in the used car market. Thank you for coming, Sean, James, Gavin, Ethan, everybody that comes every time, and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care and have a good weekend.